Today I arrived in the city of Gia Nghĩa, which is one of Vietnam's most underrated town, but hey, don't you also agree that this place so far looks absolutely stunning and very beautiful too? And since I am already here, let's explore and see if this is a hidden gem that is worthwhile for my stopover on my way that is leading me to the Ho Chi Minh Road in the Truong Son Mountain Range. But first let me give you a brief idea about this city, which is called Gia Nghĩa and is the capital city of the Đắk Nông province, and which is a rather quiet and relatively far-off place, both from the domestic and from the international beaten tourist tracks, and therefore not really frequented by a large number of outside visitors. Even the owner of my motorbike rental shop asked me, "What are you doing in this place?" and warned me that the tourism infrastructure around here are quite limited, and that I rather should go and visit Dalat city. He further added that this place here is without any famous attractions to see, except that it is nestled amongst softly undulating hills that are covered in scenic farmlands and coffee trees, that are slowly giving rise to a massive and densely forested mountain area, which is transforming this rural region into a paradise, and that indeed sounded already very good to me. And yes, true, when I googled the place it really seemed at first glance that there appears to be no attractions at all. However, out of my own experience, I always take online reviews with a pinch of salt and rather come and see it by myself. Moreover, in most cases I learned that these understated cities are rather a benefit than a drawback, and can therefore be an oasis compared to the overdeveloped cities of Vietnam's most attractive and famous tourist locations that almost everyone knows, and which are already plagued by over-tourism, which I try to avoid as much as possible. And if you followed my channel for some time, you already know that I like to explore the lesser-known travel destinations because they often provide more authentic and unique experiences compared to the popular tourist hotspots. They also offer a better chance to immerse myself deeper into the local culture and traditions, and allowing me to see the real community and its way of life, which in return I can show you too. So therefore, let's sit down, relax and join me in discovering one of Vietnam's youngest provincial capital and one of the lesser-known city here in the Central Highlands, and see what this place really has to offer. And here we are, after my quick visit to the Swan Lake and Park. We now just arrived at one of the most prominent and spiritual destination of this town, and that is none less than the Pháp Hoa Pagoda, which is indeed a beautiful and a tranquil place not to be missed if you are coming to town, and if you also want to escape the hustle and bustle of the rush-infused city life, like I do, then this pagoda is the perfect place to be. The pagoda is located here on the Hung Vong Street and belongs to the Northern Buddhist sect, which is a prominent form of Mahayana Buddhism that is widely practiced here in Vietnam. It was first built in the year of 1959 and existed under the name of Neem Phat Pagoda. However, not too long after its construction, and to be precise, it was actually in the very same year, and on the very occasion of the Vu Lan festival, that this pagoda was heavily damaged by the No Din Diem government, in the suppression of Buddhists who were worshipping at the pagoda, and causing this place to be nearly destroyed. By the way, the Lu Van festival is also known under the name of the Ghost Festival, or the Hungry Ghost Festival, and as well as the Zhongyuan Festival in Taoism and the Yulenpen Festival in Buddhism, and is a traditional celebration that is held here and in certain other East and Southeast Asian countries. Anyway, back to the pagoda's history. A year later, in 1960, it was rebuilt by a monk named Tri Hui, and the most simple way possible, with a roof that was only covered with corrugated iron sheets. During that time it was still known under the name of the Quang Duc Buddhist Recitation Hall, which was after the name of the Quang Duc province. Then in the year of 1969 the Venerable Hoa Niam came to preside over this pagoda and changed the name to Pháp Hoa Pagoda, under which it is still known as of today. I also learned from a local that in 1975, when the Venerable Hoa Niam returned to his hometown, the temple had no abbot at all. However, the people of the surrounding area didn't lose their faith and still often came to look after the pagoda and held prayers and chanting sutras as well as worshipping the Buddha relics, until the turn of the millennium. Then in the year of 2000, the temple finally welcomed the Venerable Thich Quang Hien as the new abbot, and together with the local Buddhists, they then rebuilt the temple to its present glory and spacious appearance. It is also interesting to know that this temple is designed in the typical architectural style of the Huế Garden House manner, a style that combines the pagoda methodology with the architecture of stilt houses of the central Highlands, and that is the reason why the space here creates such a nostalgic and peaceful feeling. The temple also features a large statue of the Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara, which is placed right next to the row of ancient phoenix trees, as well as the statues of the Buddha Shakyamuni, the Bodhisattva Maitreya, the Bodhisattva Chwanda, the Bodhisattva Ksitigarbha, the Dharma Protectors and Tu Dayin, which are all nicely set in a miniature landscape with many decorative trees that are arranged in a harmoniously and beautiful setting. Moreover, the pagoda is also adorned with a very unique architecture that endows it with a majestic appearance of traditional Vietnamese curved red roofs with dragon motifs. Furthermore, the pagoda's main gate is facing the southeast side and is overlooking the awesome central lake valley of Gia Nghĩa. And so this pagoda is not only a religious place for worship but is also becoming an attractive Insta check-in spot that increasingly attracts young people and therefore a must-see place when you are here.
Head southeast, then turn left.
Consequently, and after exploring the Swan Lake and the Pháp Hoa Pagoda, I am now quickly returning for a small refreshment break to my hotel of choice, which is called the Cash San Hoa Yen Hotel. Moreover, this also gives me the opportunity to introduce you to the hotel and its lovely host. She is a truly good person full of wit, information and enthusiasm, and is chatting socially along and disclosing all the best recommendations to me on what to do and to see in this area, as she wants me to have the best time of my life here in Gia Nghĩa. Needless to say that a person bubbling with so much friendliness and sociability made me really feel at home away from home, and that from the moment I stepped into this hotel. And besides of being a good hotelier who is taking care of her guests, she is also blessed with a property that is offering not only a perfect location with easy access to the national route number QL14, but is also featuring spaciously bright lit and clean rooms, with very friendly and attentive staff that is keeping everything clean and orderly. Another bonus point is certainly the covered parking for motorbikes and the access to the rooftop on the 5th floor, which spoils any photographic enthusiast with an almost 360-degree view onto the city lake and its surroundings. And so this makes it certainly a hotel that I can highly recommend, as this property is offering in return great value for your hard-earned money. And off we go on to our second round of exploring Gia Nghĩa and its surroundings, and this time armed with some additional information from my hotel host, which indeed is a big help to me. As you can see, the traffic here is moving without any problems and is nothing compared to the congested traffic of the mega cities like Saigon and Hanoi. With their large populations and extensive infrastructure, these two cities often experience high levels of traffic due to the sheer volume of vehicles and the demands on the transportation system. Rural towns generally have much less traffic due to their smaller size, lower population density, and potentially fewer vehicles on the road. And that's the reason I enjoy riding in Vietnam's countryside so much more. And here we arrive at the N'Trang Lơng Monument, which is commemorating the uprising against the invasion of the French colonialists of ethnic groups here in the south-central Highlands. That was led by N'Trang Lơng, and lasted from 1912 to 1936, and which was a long and spontaneous 24 years of struggle for the freedom of their homeland and culture. The uprising boasted the widest scope and the most drastic degree in the Central Highlands since the French colonialists invaded Vietnam, and despite its failure, the rebellion had a profound historical significance for the Vietnamese people's struggle and for its national liberation and unification. And as we can see, the monument, located here on the Đắk Nông Hill, is a whopping 27 meter high and a bit over 18 meters long and has a total weight of more than 450 tons. And it is said that this place still has traces of tunnels, trenches, ramparts and fortifications in support of this uprising that was notable for its broad scope and intensity. The reaction to the French invasion and the establishment of colonial authority was clearly marked by its significant resistance. That was driven by nationalism and by the opposition to the French rule as well as their commitment to protect the homeland. And that is quite an epic story and fully deserves this grand monument here. And as the sun is now setting over Gia Nghĩa, I have to say that I am speechless seeing this beautiful sunset colors, which is looking so magical in the combination with the vibrant fairground light and creating a truly special vibe. So let's just sit back and immerse into this combination created by nature and man and resulting in a grandeur of psychedelic color drama that is playing out in front of our eyes. After enjoying the town in its full action, we now arrived at the Gia Nghĩa Parish, which is located here on the N'Trang Lơng Street and which is offering us another amazing feat of color light show. I learned that the bishop's office officially established the Gia Nghĩa Parish under the Diocese of Đà Lạt, and that was way back in the year of 1959. On Saturday, August the 15th, which is the feast of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary, and so the Virgin Mary is also the parish's patron saint. Going a bit further back into this location's history, and years before this church was even built, this area was dense primeval forest land surrounded by hills and mountains, which was then cleared and developed into a residential area which is now known as the Din Dayin area. In the following years, people from all over the country settled down together with the Nong ethnic minority and creating a multi-ethnic community. Among them was a Catholic priest with the name of Father Tihi. And he had many followers who joined in together to reclaim this land and establish the wooden church for their religious activities. Then in the year of 1959 the Din Dayin area was officially established as the Quang Duc province, which as of today is called the Đắk Nông province. But unfortunately the church has a history of many ups and downs, with the first one of being burned down to its ground during the Vietnam War in 1975. Adding on to the misery was when Father Jean Morisseau was vigorously expelled from Vietnam. Then they took on to the chaplains and sent them all to the re-education camps, as well as forcing the parish priest to return to the bishop's palace, and so this was certainly not the best time for the believers in the Catholic faith here in the town of Gia Nghĩa. Later in the same year the bishop's office assigned Father Mikey Tran Kim Chin to be the parish priest of Gia Nghĩa, as there were still some parishioners that came to the parish house to pray, but unfortunately without the approval of the Đắk Nông district government. And so in March of 1977, the parish house also strangely burned down late at night and killed the caretaker Mrs. Maria Trin T. Vui, who was in charge of the parish land for the last 2 years. Of course the cause of the fire is until today unknown, but since the time the parish house burned down too, all the religious activities of the parishioners were no longer carried out in public, as the new government confiscated all land of parishes, churches, schools, clinics and other facilities which were under the church's management. Then finally on Wednesday, December 25, 1991, following a petition from parishioners, the Đắk Nông district government finally agreed and allowed a priest to celebrate the Christmas Mass again in Gia Nghĩa, and that was after a lengthy 16-year-long interruption. Thenceforward on Wednesday, December the 12th, in 2007, the cornerstone laying ceremony for the new church was eventually presided over by Bishop Paul Nguyen Van Hoa, with the newly built church finally completed in the year of 2010. After a spellbind evening in Gia Nghĩa and also just finishing my dinner, I am now on my way back to the hotel, and so I will end my video here. Thanks a lot for watching, and I am looking forward to see you back in my next part, when I will continue into the direction of the charming city of Buôn Ma Thuột in the Dak Lak province. So don't miss my next episode, of discovering the fascinating and sometimes dark and hidden side of Vietnam's last frontiers.